Okay, I think we're ready to go. It is not a warm day out here. I had a hike planned, but it can't decide if it wants to rain or snow or have a whole storm system where trees start coming down. So I thought instead of a hike, we'd talk about cheap gear. So every time I post a video on gear recommendations or hacks on how to save money, I routinely get comments from folks that say, quit being so cheap, spend money on that top quality gear and you won't regret it. And then I get another group of folks that say, whoa, I've been hiking with the same Salvation Army gear that I picked up 30 years ago and it works great. Somewhere in the middle has got to be the answer. But I am always amazed by the awesome ideas and hacks that you folks come up with to make your hiking and backpacking trips just that much better or that much more comfortable and not spend a lot of money doing so. So this is inspired by those of you that have sent me some great ideas. And we're going to call this segment, I Bet I Can Be Cheaper Than You. So let's get into it. First things I want to talk about is our stoves, because the stove is the one thing that everybody loves to spend a lot of money on, but we might not actually have to. Okay. So in the hiking and backpacking community, I think just about everybody has talked about the BRS 3000, right? It's recognized by its little green bag that it comes with. A lot of us also use this as our rock bag when it comes to hanging our food at night. The BRS 3000 has become kind of that baseline staple of the ultralight backpacking stove. It's cheap, it's durable, and it doesn't ever seem to fail you when you're out on the trail. But it might not actually be the cheapest or most durable thing out there. I just found this little guy, almost a carbon copy for the BRS 3000. But I picked this thing up on sale for $6.99. Right now, I think it's retailing for about $11, whereas the BRS retails for, I think, $17 or $18. So you can see the BRS is pretty weak. Things get a little loose and it's kind of hard to keep it together. Whereas this bad boy, it's got some nice, good, solid fittings on it. We got brass, stainless steel, extra durable handle. And it works just as well as the BRS for about half the price. Now, am I saying to toss your BRS 3000 and go out and buy this new stove? Absolutely not. That would be a waste of money, and that is the exact opposite of what we're trying to do here. But if your BRS happens to fail or you lose it, maybe check out this cheaper version. Just as good for a fraction of the price. Okay, that gets our stove out of the way. Let's talk about our food, because backpacking food is another item that you can spend way too much money on. I think if you've watched the channel at all, you know I have trash talked these pre-made backpacking meals till I'm blue in the face. Please. Right? This good to go meals, right? This is probably the best brand I have found so far. The flavors are fantastic, but the prices are a little high. Their meals can run anywhere between $10 and $15 depending on what you want. So my alternative has always been to recommend making your own. Pick up a dehydrator. This is a vegan curry that I made for about $1.50. It has the same nutritional value as this prepared meal by someone else for a fraction of the cost. But that's not what I want to dig into when I talk about food, because now we run into that scenario of, okay, great, I made my own backpacking food. How am I going to cook it? How am I going to rehydrate it? For a lot of us, we just cook it in our stove and boil it and do dishes later. But there is a whole group of folks out there that don't want to do anything other than boil water in their pot, and I completely respect that. So there are options, right? In the past, I've talked about these reusable silicone bags. They run a few dollars, and you can just wash them in your dishwasher when you get home. But today is about being cheap. So I got this idea from one of you fantastic viewers. If your spouse is anything like mine, they're probably trying to make you a little bit healthier, which means they might be having you drink mushroom coffee from time to time. Well, the crazy thing that I discovered after looking at these bags, They are almost identical in manufacturing as the food bags. So I've got this nice reusable mushroom coffee bag. Has a good Ziploc fitting on the top. Ziploc closure. You can easily dump your food in there, pour your boiling water in it, give it 5 minutes, and you are good to go. You didn't have to buy anything, and you kept the bag out of the landfill. It's a win-win for everybody. And on a cold day like today, that reminds me of what we have to deal with when we're trying to rehydrate food, right? If you've ever been out there on a winter hike and you're trying to rehydrate your food, and it gets cold before you're ready to eat it. So you can go to some of these boutique places and you can pick up these little insulated bags, or they're foam insulated bags that help keep your food warm while it's rehydrating. Or next time you get something in the mail from Amazon, just save their bubble wrap bag. These things are awesome. On the inside, it's got a high gloss material, which is going to reflect the heat back into your food bag. The bubble wrap adds a layer of insulation, and go figure, our mushroom coffee fits right inside the bag. You'd almost think it's what they shipped it to me in the first place in. So there you go, another win. We've created this bag to rehydrate our food on a cold day, and we've kept another bag out of the landfill. And then of course, this also works as a pretty good sit pad if you're sitting down on a wet surface, but we know I have my snap fold bowl for that. Now we have cooked our food with our discount stove. We made our own budget backpacking meal. We rehydrated it in a mushroom coffee bag and kept it warm in our Amazon packaging. How are we going to eat it? Now, I think everyone has heard me talk about my titanium spork. I've got the spork and a spoon combination that I bought at a discounted price, and I love these things. I love it probably more than I actually should love kitchen utensil, but that's just me. But if you don't want to spend money on a titanium spoon, there's another alternative. Remember the last time you went to Dairy Queen and you snuck a Blizzard, or you went to Wendy's and you got an ice cream? Well, it came with a long-handled plastic spoon, didn't it? So you can pick up a titanium spork for $10 or $15, or you can get a free spoon the next time you get dessert. The best part about the free spoon, you got to eat ice cream also. Win-win. All right, so we've got our meal taken care of. Let's talk about some creature comforts when we're at camp. And specifically, I want to talk about camp shoes, because that is a controversial topic. I recently went online to the Garage Grown Gear website. If you're not familiar with Garage Grown Gear, they are a boutique online retailer that showcases small companies, small backpacking companies. Primarily their focus is on ultralight gear, and it is awesome. There's every kind of little bits and bobs and bells and whistles that you could ever imagine on their website. And some of it is insanely expensive. Like, for example, these camp sandals that I found. It's basically a fancy corrugated plastic. You know, like the campaign signs that you see all over your neighborhood certain times a year. Well, they've cut them down into a camp shoe, put a couple of elastic bands on it, and they call it a camp slipper, and they'll gladly sell it to you for $40. That's insane. Here's an easy alternative that anybody can do. All right. First things first, we take our cardboard box. Find your camp shoe. And a handy dandy pocket knife. And yes, by the way, this is a folding blade that comes as a set of 3 for $10. That's also cheap. So all we're gonna do is cut down the side of the box, cut off the extra cardboard, trim off the edges, slap a couple of rubber bands, and congratulations, you've got a camp slipper for $0. Just took a couple of rubber bands out of your junk drawer and the box that you had sitting in your garage. You're welcome. Now, okay, I know this is being a little ridiculous, right? We know cardboard isn't going to hold up in the weather. But my point is, don't spend a lot of money on something as silly as a corrugated plastic shoe. If you want to do that, go grab a campaign sign right after the elections, throw it in your garage the next time you plan on going backpacking, cut up your own shoes. It's going to cost you absolutely nothing, and it's the same thing that these boutique companies are charging you $40 for. Now, if you want more of a realistic, comforting camp shoe, the easiest thing to do is just pull the laces out of your shoes, loosen that tongue, and now you've got a nice, comfy, slip-on, slip-off shoe that you can run around in camp, right? It's simple as that. We don't need to overthink it. Don't pack some additional stuff that you really don't need anyways. With how lightweight trail runners they are these days, they might as well be slippers. But that does bring up a valid point on what are we going to do at camp when it comes to our trail runners, or maybe our socks have gotten wet for the day. And I know that if you go into, again, some of these boutique companies, you can buy clips that run between your tent stakes inside your pole. I know Durston makes one for their Stargazer setup, and then you can hang your wet laundry on it. But in the cycling world, when I used to be an avid cyclist, and I'd always wear my wired earbuds, and I found that these little clips were a fantastic tool because I could just clip my earbuds right onto the side of my shirt and they'd never fall off. Well, they also work great for hanging clothes. You just clip it onto the edge and you can hang your socks wherever you want for them to dry overnight. Again, you didn't need to buy any special fancy gear because you probably have a clip like this or similar to it in your junk drawer at home. A little bit of creativity, a little bit of ingenuity goes a long way. But I do want to throw out an honorable mention on something I saw last night. Tokes has just come out with their mug koozie, right? It is designed to keep your hot liquids hot. And basically it slips over like a beer koozie would on your can of beer, but it goes over your mug just to help add a layer of insulation. Kind of a cool idea. They run $10 or $15, but what if you just took your extra sock? I didn't have to pay anything for that, did I? And it's going to do the same thing. It's going to add an extra layer of warmth to my mug. Yes, it's going to get kind of nasty if you use your dirty socks. But if you're like me, you keep a spare set of socks in your gear just in case. Maybe put them to use after all. All right, folks, that is my plan here, right? I showed you some cheap, easy fixes, nice, simple hacks in order to make your backpacking or camping experience more affordable and more enjoyable. I am really curious what you folks can come up with. In the comments, I want you to give me some of your best all-time hacks that you have found to not only save money, but cut grams and improve your overall backpacking experience. Maybe we can get a bit of a competition going. And that's it for me, folks. Until next time, I hope to see you out there on the trail soon. Let's go for a walk.